Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Spar and Brawl. Hope you're having a decent day. So, as always, I'm joined by my co-host Sam, and so we're gonna restart our original Spar and Brawl podcast, which is a bit different than the progressive world that we usually put out around the end of the week. And this one, the main difference will be that it's not going to focus only on progressive issues, but all kinds of news and politics. And then, yeah, try to bring as much analysis and reporting as much as possible, but as you shall see. And I'm not too sure if Sam is happy with this, but we have some fun segments in this podcast, such as have you seen this shit?
Factory carries the risk, therefore he gets the benefit. The workers in the company you mentioned, if that company were to go bankrupt.
This first, buy this first.
Where I will just show some funny stuff I've come across Instagram to Sam, and as well as a little fun story at the end. But yeah, Sam, should I just give a quick overview of what we have and then start?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea for people who might want to tease, but they don't want to have whole thing.
Exactly, and timestamps below. So perfect. That also reminds me that I'll put the timestamps below. So we don't have that many stories. The first one is on the infrastructure bill, but more really about the cryptocurrency tax part. It's been kind of big story in some circles for the past week. And then the new Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, they put out their latest report. It's probably the biggest report on the state of climate and human-induced climate change. So I'm just going to go over some of the top lines there and a few things that I found interesting in a short version of the report put out for policymakers. And then after that, it's pretty much all fun. Just going to show this picture of this new dragon that could have existed back in the day in Australia, this dragon slash dinosaur. Do the have you seen this shit clip that I just mentioned, and finish with an article on Quentin Tarantino. So Sam, should I go ahead? Should I start?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And as always, just ask me questions, anything that you think I haven't clarified, and if I'm able to, I'll answer. If not, it is what it is.
For sure.
Maybe come back with a response next time. Okay, so I'll go over this part of the story very quickly. So yesterday on Tuesday, the Senate approved Biden's $1 trillion infrastructure plan. So it went through the Senate with 69 to 30 votes. That sounds like a decent margin. I don't know if it happens often or not, but so it passed through Senate. So what is the next step? Of course, it has to go through Congress. But Biden has another bigger package, another plan, which is not restricted to infrastructure, which is worth 3.5 trillion. It includes childcare services in it, elderly care, provisions for the environment and for the health sector. So it's a much bigger plan. And apparently Congress is thinking about deliberating both of these plans together, but that part's unclear. But anyway, the infrastructure one has passed through Senate. And before getting to the cryptocurrency part, I just found that AP did a nice they just broke down a little overview of where the 1 trillion is going to be spent. So about 110 billion will be going to roads and bridges. So perhaps the most typical infrastructure thing you can think of. Then public transit, a little bit of money there, 40 billion. Passenger and freight rail, so still spending money there. And I'm guessing it's very much needed. A good 66 billion are going there. Electric vehicles, they will spend 7.5 billion for the charging stations. Internet access, now that's good. A good 65 billion has been put aside, which is as much as the passenger and freight rail, to improve broadband access across the country. They also want to modernize the electric grid for another 65 billion, while 25 billion will be spent on airports across the country. And then finally, another 55 billion will be spent on water and wastewater and that kind of hygiene sanitation. So that's just a quick overview. I mean, nothing too crazy there. But yeah, so I wanted to get to the whole cryptocurrency part. Did you hear about this at all, Sam, over the past week? Like cryptocurrency, how could that relate to infrastructure bill?
I saw there was a segment on The Hill with Ryan Grimm, I think, on the matter, but I didn't watch the video. I just saw the thumbnail, to be honest. Didn't enough time, but apparently it has caused quite a kerfuffle or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, a little bit, pretty much. So as you know, this bill is supposed to be paid in, this bill is going to be paid in a few ways. One is that there's around 200 billion in unspent COVID relief, apparently. Then there's some other money that states have, which hasn't been used or something along those lines. And then some smaller little like auctioning petroleum reserve sales and 5G services. So there are a few things here, whereas the bigger one is going to be apparently funded if it's going to be, if it passes, based on increases in certain taxes on higher income people, things like that. But where the infrastructure, where the cryptocurrency comes in is that suddenly last week they inserted this part into the bill, which hopes to change the way that that cryptocurrency is being taxed in order to generate 28 billion in revenue to, I guess, in their minds, to pay for part of the infrastructure. So that's where it comes in. It's just really as a way to tax it. And this is where this has caused a lot of issue, because they're saying that, yes, right now, some brokers are being taxed. Some cryptocurrency brokers are being taxed because the IRS pretty much sees it as an asset. So they're kind of being taxed in a way, I guess, that stocks are. But cryptocurrency enthusiasts, advocates, they're saying that the way that this bill, so I'll read it, they're saying that the provision defines brokers too broadly. So that's what the opponents say, potentially stifling innovation by unfairly putting new tax reporting obligations on software developers, crypto miner users, and others in the industry. So they're pretty much, their main problem is that the way that the broker is defined is just too large. And, you know, so then maybe people who are mining in their homes will kind of fall under it. But at the same time, like, these people wouldn't even have the IRS information of the people who've bought the Bitcoin. So it's even practically, they can't take part in it. And so a lot of politicians like Ted Cruz kind of jumped on this. Apparently now there's a cryptocurrency asset lobby, which didn't even exist a month ago, but they were quickly put together. And yeah, they pushed back quite hard, actually, just in 1 week. And an amendment was put in where apparently the industry was much happier with the way that the term broker was defined. But at the end, that failed, and that didn't make it. So the bill actually passed through, based on what I understand, with pretty much the original way that it was defined, the term brokerage, which, as you know, which wasn't taken kindly by the cryptocurrency sector.
And when we say cryptocurrency sector, are we talking about like huge cryptocurrencies, like at least Bitcoin is largely concentrated in the hand of few? Are they upset, or are the people upset that, for like, example, you know, that because there is no clear definition of broker, then maybe even some individual in his home can be considered a broker?
Yeah, I guess like all the different people involved, like for instance, the website that people go on, actually, I think it's called Coinbase, one of them, where they trade. So, you know, they have like a CEO and everything. So they have a public face. So all those kind of people and different people involved in different
places.
And different people involved in different stages of the industry, I guess. I mean, it has really become a huge industry. I mean, just to say where I'm coming from, I don't even have any cryptocurrency. I don't even have one, like a tiny share of Bitcoin or anything, but I'm just interested in it. And I don't find it to be like, you know, the other day, I remember I sent you this article, and the CEO of Twitter said that like Bitcoin or cryptocurrency could like bring about world peace, or help to bring about world peace. So, you know, insane promises are made, but it's a big industry. I mean, and just by the fact that they managed to push back, this is another really indicator of how, you know, they're growing and they're organizing themselves too a bit.
Any new technology or sort of product, I suppose they sort of exaggerate in the beginning. I remember when I was very young, they came up with a map of human genome or something, and they were like, or human DNA. And they thought that's going to be like the end of all kinds of like cancer and all that. But it really, I mean, it's helped, but, you know, who knows?
Yeah, no, exactly.
I mean, that's a more scientific thing, though.
I mean, cryptocurrency is really everything and anything. It just depends who you're asking.
I think
and all
cryptocurrency is a really natural evolution of the fiat sort of money, because when money becomes just how much, like the value of money is determined by how much demand there is for it globally or domestically, whatever, then naturally at some point people are going to be like, what's the point of the paper? Like the whole of, like, the paper is backed by the government, it's not backed by gold or anything. So it's quite natural for our traditional money to be turned into digital money for sure. And cryptocurrency itself, I just think it's very natural to go digital. I don't know about crypto, or maybe our money becomes digital, but it makes sense to get rid of paper money for sure.
Yeah, that part makes sense. I totally agree. But I don't think that like cryptocurrency would necessarily replace fiat currencies, because there's so many things that the government can do by being the issuer of currency that that crypto. But however, I think there's a place for it also, and also where
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, it's not replacing it. I'm just saying it's the same thing.
No, I think we agree pretty much.
Like toy store money.
Yeah. And you can do different stuff with it. Actually, last time after you said that analogy, it took me a while to get it. But you're right, especially now, because you take your money and then you buy this, and then you hope to, I guess, use your cryptocurrency to buy something else with it, or let the value appreciate. And then, of course, there's also the whole blockchain technology behind it, which is a different story. But yeah, all that I want to say that I don't come from too much of an agenda on this cryptocurrency story. Just a little bit of an agenda, maybe. But
do you know the definition they came up with in the amendments that made the crypto lobby
they're just
happy,
saying they didn't. At the end, the crypto lobby wasn't happy. Oh, in the amendment that didn't pass. So sorry, no, I don't know how they further defined it. I guess they made a way to make the definition a bit stricter, but based on what I understood, that didn't pass anyway. But now they're still saying there are ways, Senate is still saying there are ways for it to change. And anyway, when it goes to Congress, I don't know if they also change language of the bill, if that can happen there too, or they have to deal with the bill as it is. These are really things I don't know. But yeah, glad you mentioned the Hill one. It was a nice, interesting conversation. I liked what Ryan Grimm said there. The other lady, she was funny. She was really going on, taxing will like stifle innovation, and like, the kind of, she was going with that. Say? Oh, he was just saying, just giving like two sides of it and different parts of it and the history and how, people really like the gold era and stuff, but there's a reason that it went away. So he was talking about that, and along the line of the stuff that I was saying, more or less.
Gold standard, or?
Yeah, like relying on
Oh, okay.
Go, but yeah, and then the lady, I guess the other person is I guess I'm guessing the right-wing host, and she was more on like, this is very dangerous. Me, where I stand on it, where I fall, is that of course there should be different levels of taxing and regulation, but from the moment this popped up, I could tell this was just done like last minute without any kind of research or thought being put into really putting that into the bill. And I was listening to some people from the inside of the cryptocurrency world. They were saying the same thing. Who knows? Maybe they've thought about it and maybe there were talks, but it just reeks of, quick politics of, let's put this in here. That way we can say that money will be generated this way and pass this bill through. So that's really what kind of pissed me off about the story, which was, or, the insertion of the cryptocurrency part into the bill. But yeah, I think that's that with this story. So we can move on to
I would say there are lots of better ways to. There are lots of other places they can tax that already generate, and it's all clear and anyway.
Yeah, no, I'm sure there are other ways of generating money. That's for sure. Exactly. This one, I guess, is they really, when you read the way they're getting their money, it sounds like, they're okay. There's $5 here, put it there. Okay. There's 10 billion here, add it. Okay. Check the White House drawers.
$3.
Trump
Under the
left some
bed.
food coupons.
It
I
it
don't think,
is like that.
yeah, I don't think Trump would leave any money behind. He would even like pick up any loose change hanging,
I
laying
mean,
around.
Obama didn't either. So yeah, probably.
True. Okay, speaking of Obama, the great Obama, who was here during, I mean, I guess he was still the president when they passed the Paris Climate Agreement and all that. So for
Mhm.
each of those big climate agreements, which are called like meetings, they're called the COP, the Conference of Climate Change, I believe. So there's another big one coming up in Glasgow this year. And ahead of this, the IPCC, which is the Intergovernmental Panel of Climate Change, they put out like I mean, just imagine it's kind of like a literature review of climate change, a big one on steroids. So this report, this latest one that's come out, is the 6th version. It was prepared by 234 scientists from 66 countries. And so this organization, which is tasked on doing research on climate change, has 3 working bodies. Like one of them is on mitigation, the other one's on social impact. And the first one, which put out the report for today, they're really on the natural science of it. So really finding out, the natural science climate change aspects of it. So they assess the physical science of climate change. Okay, and yeah, so they've pretty much put out their latest report. It got quite a bit of media attraction, if you ask me. Everybody covered. Novaro Media in the kind of leftist space on YouTube did a great job of covering it. Put an hour long segment of it. But mainstream media, it was everywhere. So I've taken out a few interesting points that I found from the report that I just wanted to go over. But before that, I guess the main takeaway that you get from the report, and some of it isn't new, is that now they're saying that it's virtually certain. And there's a language to their grading, which I'll show you, Sam. They're saying that it's virtually certain that climate change is man-made, and at least the level of degrees that we observe go up since the 1750s. It was due to human activities. And the 1.5 degrees that was kind of set as a target by the Paris Climate Agreement, so not surpassing that, I mean, it's pretty much guaranteed. So they come up with different scenarios, but most likely going to surpass that even with, even when start putting in some effort and some activity and, trying to reverse it. But yeah, and they're also saying that a lot of the changes that have happened are irreversible within our lifetime. So of course, at some point the planet will heal or change, but a lot of it is not possible. So let's go over some of these main points. So just right before we go over some of the bullet points that I've taken out of the report, which I've found to be the most interesting, you will hear words in this report such as like likely or very likely or virtually certain or very unlikely. So this is kind of, they have this evaluation criteria. So here it's written, each finding is grounded in an evaluation of underlying evidence and agreement. So pretty much if they say like humans, climate change, rise in temperatures due to human activity, and it's very likely. So I guess that's based on looking at all the recent studies that have come out, doing a kind of literature review on that, and what are the findings that are most certain. And then they also speak, and then the experts also say like how, I guess, where they fall on these findings. So it's not just a literature review, it's a bit more, there's a bit more to it. But based on what I could understand, it's that. And then they come up with these criteria of how likely or like medium confidence, you'll hear these kind of terms. So, okay, let's get started with the first one that I have here. So the first one says that human-induced climate change is already affecting many weather and climate extremes in every region across the globe. So this is something I'm very interested about because, of course, now you're hearing about the wildfires and everything, and it's hard to, pinpoint which one wouldn't have happened or would have been much less severe if there wasn't climate change. But now there seems to be a literature that's saying, at least as a whole, there is scientific evidence that these kind of extreme events are happening more frequently. So then they go on and saying that it is virtually certain.
To be fair,
yeah, go ahead.
It's been out there for a long time.
Yeah. Some of this is not like new. So maybe they're like more confident in the way that they're saying, and some of their findings.
I think it's just
specify.
Now it's an intergovernmental body, so that seems to be the.
Maybe they would have said this before, and this isn't like their top finding. These are this part. I mean, it is part of their main overview, but this isn't like their number one thing. It kind of starts with like the most obvious and then goes into different categories. But yeah, I'm sure it's done, but you wouldn't hear that many. You don't hear that many like stats or like figures that often. I see accompanying, at least not in the mainstream media, accompanying like extreme events, saying that, you know, it is now like more or less certain than these are. But no, definitely points taken. So they go and say it is virtually certain that hot extremes, including heat waves, have become more frequent and more intense across most land regions since the 1950s. While cold extremes, including cold waves, have become less frequent and less severe. And again, they say that with high confidence that human-induced climate change is behind this. Then they also go on saying, and once again, this is quite well known, that some recent hot extremes observed over the past decade would have been extremely unlikely to occur without human influence on the climate system. So yeah, definitely a lot of this has been out, but this is kind of the aggregate, you know, a big literature review of it put all together. The second one is on so how much really they estimate that the surface temperature has increased. So they're saying that the likely range, so you see likely is in italic, so that's based on like the evaluation they give. So they're more or less certain that human-caused global surface temperature from 1850 to 1900, around then until now, has increased between 0.8 degrees to 1.3, with the best estimate putting it somewhere just north of 1. So that's why we'll see in the next few slides, they say that by mid-century and by the end of the century, for sure, we will surpass 1.5 and 2. The next slide talks about waters. So it's saying that continued global warming is projected to further intensify the global water cycle, including its variability, global monsoons, precipitation, and the severity of wet and dry events. So they go on to say that there is strengthened evidence since AR5, so that's their previous report put out, that the global water cycle will continue to intensify as global temperature rise, with precipitation and surface water flows projected to become more variable over most land regions.
The floods are going to be more common.
Yeah, more or less, exactly.
Like Germany right now.
Yeah, exactly.
As somewhere is burning, as Arctics are being burned.
Yeah. I mean, the report, I know that I guess they wanted to give enough time to the policymakers to read it before the conference in November, but they put it out at a good time because I mean, around now is like wildfire season, more or less, like everywhere. So there's that happening, and at the same time, this came out.
I think any time during the year at this point, because you either have wildfire or floods or monsoon or hurricanes or some kind of like, you know, natural disaster. I mean, earthquake, to be fair, is not their fault.
Yeah.
Unless fracking.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Although, like, I mean, the US is really hit around this time because there's always like the California wildfires, and then it's like hurricane season in that whole region. And I guess fires other places. I think
it's just US, to be honest, like Iran, they're kind of long countries. You know what I mean? They're not in terms of like they're not necessarily, US is massive, but they're not so wide. They're long, so they have all kinds of like natural disaster, from
everything
floods
happens.
to like avalanche to, you know, yeah, we all have it all. You know, was it a couple of months ago in Tehran? So a couple of people got buried in an avalanche, I think. So yeah, it's all there.
A bit of everything. But yeah, and then so on this slide, they go down to, after putting for each scenario how much more how much more rain there could be and stuff. So I'm not gonna get into that. So the next slide, this is what I've been referring to a lot, which is that global surface temperature will continue to increase until at least mid-century, until all emission scenarios considered. Global warming of 1.5 and 2 degrees will be exceeded during the 21st century unless deep reductions in CO2 and other greenhouse emissions occur in the coming decades. And if you just go to the next slide, it's a graph, so we can go back and forth. Yeah, no, take your time. The other one just complements it. And so the scenarios,
no,
this
the
is
graph, I was wondering, what's the difference between the red
so these are
and the blue ones?
This report puts out 5 scenarios. They do that in kind of all climate change papers, right? So they're like, the blue one, the first one is like, if we cut emissions in such an insanely drastic way, right? Then I believe the second one is also quite drastic.
It's like business reports where you give like options to your
exactly.
They have you do a market study, and then you give them like, if you'd invest this much in this like a strategy. Okay,
exactly. And they mix it with a few other things too.
I don't do a lot of
no, of course. I mean, this report is purely by environmental scientists, so it's just an easy way for folks like us to understand.
No, I just social science. No, it's just okay. So like, if we do all the good things, if we do all the bad things. All right, good.
So and pretty much the one in the middle, I guess, is like, if if we go with like the current promises that are made.
Let's see what happens.
2 weeks before each conference, okay, guys, cut down emissions now. I don't care how.
Don't go. I'll walk today.
I don't care how. But yeah, and then the other 2 are pretty much like, fuck it, might as well.
Yeah,
burn more for no reason.
Live as long as you can, live it well.
But
to be, I mean, I'm in terms of. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, finish.
No. I was just gonna summarize the report one more time and just like tell folks how to go about it if they want to read stuff in more detail. But so go ahead.
Oh, sure. Before that, I want to just say, I don't think, again, like, and what do in these strategies they offer, does any of them talk about population control?
Yeah, you have to look into it. Maybe they look at number of people who are like, they take that in consideration, but I doubt they vary them from each scenario. And if you ask me, rightly so, because it wouldn't make much difference. But I know we don't fall on the same side as me.
Yeah, that's the fundamental thing. As long as
not the fundamental.
I think all of this is really
no. That's where I think you're gravely mistaken.
I don't think I am, but okay. No, I think
if one thing I'm sure about is that
because you could, by the way, you could draw the same exact sort of things, just replace like the timeline of I mean, this is from 1950s, this one, but you talked about that they talk about 1750s still now.
Yeah, that's like the pre-industrial level until now. So it's compared usually from then.
So you can do the same thing with sort of modern medicine, antibiotics, and then see exactly the same level, like the pollution and all that goes up as the population goes up. So I think
but those are kind of
that. So those are my strategies I'm going to live as well as I can.
Yeah, you can live as well as you can, but let's say, I mean, like I've made this example, I've given this example a lot, is that if you go and get rid of half of the planet, but don't get rid of most people who are responsible for the emissions, you won't do anything. So at the end, at any population level, will come down to a lifestyle. Even if there are 5 people on Earth and you each want to have a nuclear plant that you use every single day for fun, not a nuclear plant, a nuclear bomb, then even 5 people will be unsustainable. But I think you present a false dichotomy that we all have to live like hippies from the 70s in order for the planet's current population, or a little bit less or a little bit more, to have a good sustainable life. Whereas I think no, there's like a little nice middle ground where more people can be happy, and that will be more efficient in addressing climate change than population control, if you ask me.
Yeah, I just don't agree. I would say I think you're just strawmanning me.
No.
And I agree with anything you said.
Am I strawmanning you?
Sorry, no. In that sense that I think yes. If 5 people, I just think the level of consumption. Yeah, I just think volume is important as well as
100%.
each individual thing. So I would say to me it's far more important. And and I do believe that part is true, that I don't think we have to live like hippies in 70s. In fact, I think we have to live far worse if we want to actually save the planet, 7 billion of us. But the reality is, I don't think that's worth it. Like, I don't want to save the planet if I have to live.
But you're not saving the planet, you're saving people. But yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to
humanity.
Talk over you.
Yeah. Planet is going to be fine. Yeah. So, no, sorry. Yeah. I meant humanity or civilization or whatever we've done so far. I don't know what you can call. I don't. This like there is this smile. It's like, okay, I get very sad when I hear about these animal dodos went extinct long before I was born. Right? It's very sad, but at the end, fuck it.
But I mean, here we're not just talking about. Of course, we're not just talking about like 1 or 2 species going extinct. Where I mean, it's mainly talking about
humanity.
Humanity. Not that the other one's not important, but
no, it's we are not that important either. So
I mean, but for ourselves and some people, I guess.
No. I mean, I don't want to minimize. By the way, it's very hugely unfair that people living in poorer countries or near water or in islands are going to be affected by the actions of the most wealthy and the people who use. But then again, I think if you replace those people tomorrow, their positions, the poor people that have just reached the heights of welfare or whatever, they're going to do the same. So I think as long as there's this many people around, I don't see how we're going to have solidarity or unity.
Again, I don't see what it has to do with the number of people that much. I'm not saying it's a absolutely irrelevant factor.
A quick question. No, it's not, because how many people live in America? About 350 million.
Yeah.
How many of them do you think are hardcore Christians?
Like
what? 10 million maybe? Yeah, less probably. Hardcore. Yeah, Christian Zionist, crazy, like want to invade the whole world, want to spread Christianity.
I mean, I was gonna say much more than 10 million, but okay.
No, I mean, not them.
Yeah,
they're crazy people I'm talking about. But they have including, by the way, people like William Buckley or something, these people, somebody who set up the national, they are very small, but when you have, when you have such a large population, such a small thing, few people can dominate when they're willing. And we're going to be spoilers and all. Anyways, we've done this discussion before, but it's not irrelevant. I mean, you don't accept that it's an important factor, but it's not irrelevant.
No, that's exactly what I didn't say. I don't think it's absolutely irrelevant. So no, I definitely don't think it's absolutely relevant. No, but I do project that sentiment more or less anyway, so it makes sense. That's how you understood me. But I mean, I think nowadays we've had this population debate a bit like scattered here, a bit scattered there, and now that we have a few subscribers, we could do it in one video properly. But okay, anyways, just to wrap up with this report, you pointed out something very true. I mean, a lot of this was known before, right? But I guess this report just builds on it. It's the latest version, and I guess there's some things that they've further,
and it's all encompassing, right?
Yeah, exactly. On the kind of natural science aspect of it, this report is just on that part. But yeah, and I mean, the part that, I mean, you did rightly say that we did know this, but it's good to even, I mean, that's one thing that's still debated, right? I mean, you listen to like mainstream media, some, the more right-leaning ones, they don't deny climate change now, fully they accept it. But, one thing that they always like to tackle is like, oh, now you're saying every single weather event is due to climate change and stuff. So I mean, this is just
It
one area, I
is.
guess.
I mean, it's just people. I'm sorry, but it's just so climate change is always happening. It's just when you put fucking fire into a process,
Yeah.
it's gonna obviously have some. It's gonna affect it somehow. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna make it faster, and then our houses are not gonna be able to deal. It's not rocket science, even
No.
like some of it is, but it's
Yeah.
just very clear that weather is gonna react faster to deal with the chemicals you're putting in it. It's like body. You eat, you fucking defecate,
Yeah.
right? So it's just and sorry,
Yeah.
it's just but I love that though. It's just scientific papers. I love how they have to say, kind of like me sometimes, it's just something in the back of my brain. It's very likely, I mean, it's 100%, but because it's science, you always have to be 99.9%.
And it is like forecasting 100%. Type of science, which adds an even, I mean, some of it is not. A lot of it is, of course, looking back at what happened. But like the scenarios and models are like, forecasting, which makes it even harder.
Human,
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
if X and Y don't go to work,
I would say just because I said all the craziest stuff. I would add the best way to do, by the way, population control is educating women and girls across the world, and that has proven to be good for, I think, in terms of like, you don't have as many, they tend to not like, there's reduction in population growth, and it just helps everything else, usually in terms of inequality, in terms of development, all of that. It's not just positive for one group, it's positive for all of the society.
Yeah, and like perhaps you have to like talk about population control for like who and how, rather. That definitely makes the conversation much more much more interesting. No, okay, in a normal way. Okay, we'll save all this
so
for
those guys.
So I've identified exactly a list of 200 tribes that will need to be eliminated.
Those guys with really weird clothing, that group, I don't like them.
Sam, they're actually some of the greenest people. No, I don't care. They're some of the most educated.
The aesthetics, the aesthetics just doesn't feel.
But okay. Let's continue having fun. Oh, before having fun, well, this is fun too. So pretty much scientists, I guess, have like put together, they've come across some fossils of what could have been this flying dragon or something. So I'm putting a picture of it right now. So this is, of course, a drawing done of it, and it is quite terrifying.
No, it's not. For people who thought this is actual photograph, please don't be fooled.
Yeah. So but here, this other picture is apparently his skull. So Sam, if you have the article and you scroll further down, you'll see it. So I guess it's like this skull that they've put together, maybe with some pieces of the fossil or something. So it looks like an accurate depiction, the picture, to me. But let me just read.
I just wanted to, from what I know from dinosaurs and shit, because I've been reading about them for a while, I think they were like birds. Now they know they have feathers and shit.
Yeah, true, right? I've heard that too.
It be feathered?
Or maybe he does, or very little.
Basically,
I know you're right.
Chickens are basically tiny dinosaurs, and that's why I hate them so much.
I mean, I both hate them and terrified of them. So actually, let me just read one thing, and then we can talk more about why birds and dinosaurs are terrifying. So so the scientists said that the Psittauros would have been a fearsome beast that likely snacked on juvenile dinosaurs. Anything else I highlighted? Okay, the entire skull was likely over a meter, over 3 feet, and contained 40 teeth. The newly discovered species was part of a group of Pterosaurus named Angurians, whatever, and they once flew over different waters. So I mean, recently how I was on holiday, and like there were some lizards everywhere. There were some snakes too, but I was like watching the birds all the time. Man, they're the scariest.
Where are you staying, man?
In Mexico.
So no, it's just, I mean, like,
it was by the beach. Yeah, it was by the beach. So like these tiny little
I was making a
lizards.
joke about
Yeah,
you being a cheap person.
Oh, I
There
see.
was a big lizard?
Like a lizard like this big. Like they were like everywhere.
Right.
They were the cutest and just like running around. And some of them didn't have their tail. And I guess they would get into some kind of fight or something. And if they bite their tail, apparently they can let their tail go and then it regrows. But anyway, the birds
it doesn't
gliding.
Regrow.
It doesn't regrow. It does grow, I think.
Some of them does. Some of them does. Yeah.
I think these
salamanders
ones regrow.
do, I think.
Yeah, I think these ones regrow because the tail would look different in different parts, but I don't really know much. And then, yeah, you'd see these crazy birds like gliding up there for like ever. And today I found out apparently there's some birds who can just stay in the air for months, pretty much. I mean, there's one that can apparently stay in the air for 6 months. So,
what do you mean
but yeah,
stay in the air? Like
gliding? Yeah, just like gliding nonstop.
No, really? What the
Yeah.
fuck? That's crazy.
It's like the
what about food and they ship.
I mean, I guess they come in food they come and get from the ocean, the ones that fly over water.
Oh, they eat while driving. Yeah. I see.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And man, they're crazy from up there. They look like they're
the drunk drivers. The drunk flyers of Bird Kingdom.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
So I can just imagine what this guy was snatching, like probably sharks.
Yeah, that looks nice. But I would say I never understood this human obsession with dinosaurs in terms of like really? Jurassic Park and all. I never, I think that's one of the most overrated movies. I actually one of the few people who likes the new one, Jurassic World, more than Jurassic Park, which is very odd, I know. But yeah, I find them disgusting, massive, either lizards or chickens, and I fucking hate them. Why are you terrified of chickens?
No, not chickens. I was like birds and stuff. I was saying just because they're up there and these bigger birds or like falcons and stuff. They can come and pick up whatever they want, more or less. But I was never like obsessed with dinosaurs.
Oh, really? Okay.
As a kid, sorry, as a dinosaur, so I kind of know where you're coming from. But at the same time, they kind of terrify me, so I like them from that point of view.
Oh yeah. And it's just, it's just I've never been interested in natural disaster movies, and dinosaurs kind of feel like that too. It's like a bad guy. You can't really, like, he's just bad because he wants to eat. So you're like, But yeah, I see what you, No, I remember I had an ongoing rivalry during my uni years with the seagulls. And they grabbed burgers from my hand twice when you mentioned falcons. Twice I lost the burger to them. But I would say I just find them so disgusting, man. Especially when you look at actual birds close by. They're always missing a leg or not a leg. I don't know what the fuck are they. The three things they have. One of them is missing. Their eyes are crooked. They're basically like rats of most of them. I mean, I'm not talking about a beautiful owl living independently in the wild. I'm talking about these parasites that live in cities and feed off their. I'm being fictitious, by the way.
But I mean,
but yeah, it's just it's not my favorite animals. I don't even like to eat them, even though I know that would hurt them. Like it would be something against them. But I find their meat. I ate duck once. Duck liver or whatever.
Not for you. No, well, I mean, I haven't consumed animal products, as you know, for quite a while. But returning to your story of you having fights with birds in the UK, just last year, I was just trying to eat my lunch quickly outside of university, and they were just pigeons. But I don't know, it was like the time of the year where there were more pigeons or something. I mean, I literally couldn't eat. It's not like I'm not scared of pigeons; they're everywhere.
And you ate the raw pigeon?
No, I had to run back into university. Like I couldn't finish my meal. And on your comment,
they're sucks.
And on your comment concerning rats, but in the Suicide Squad, I thought the little mice were really cute. So I don't know where you fall on those guys.
No, that's the thing. I like rats a lot, actually. I mean, we're gonna do a film review of Suicide Squad soon, but they play big. I do like. No, I mean, again, I also during my uni years had a war with mice, I believe. I don't think they were rats in my house. So I've been in a war with Animal Kingdom for some time now. So, yeah.
I see.
They won in that case. They definitely won.
But All right, Sam, let's keep this going. And let's move on to Have You Seen This Shit? Which is pretty much a segment where I grab a few videos off Instagram and then I'll watch them with Sam. But actually, now that I think about it, you have Instagram on your phone, right? So you can just click on those videos and see them.
Yes, but
okay. Do you see where they are? Let's start from the top.
For a long time. Let's
start from the 5. So for folks to know, some of them are absolutely ridiculous. So I find them so stupid. So maybe like life or business advice. But some of them are better. So they're more, I prefer them. So Sam, let's start off with the first one.
For me, I've just been looking forward to milking COVID for the rest of my life. Like my grandmother talked about the Great Depression until the day she died. I'm doing the exact same thing for this. I'm bringing it up every holiday, telling them stories about how it was back then. Except for me, I'm gonna have to up the intensity every 10 or so years to keep it interesting. Yeah. Like 10 years ago, like, yeah, it was crazy. We had a bunch of Zoom meetings, had to watch Netflix. By the time I'm 85, I'm like, I was the only person left alive in my village.
All right, so this first one was just a little bit of an icebreaker. I don't know if there's anything to comment about. I'm not huge into comedy. I loved it. I know you are. It was funny though, right?
Yeah, very good, very good. And it reminded me actually of all the breaking points just to the segment on New York Times, I believe. New York, I'm not sure, maybe Washington Post, doing a segment on children getting long COVID and stuff. And it got criticism for being obviously crazy. It's been a bit of a scaremongering type of piece. And yeah, it's just like that. The way people talk about COVID and compare it to a Spanish flu, I think is ridiculous. Just, like a lot of other things.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about the Spanish flu comparison because I don't know much about it. But yeah, no, for sure, there's a lot of insanity in all sides, though. In all sides, I mean, those who also simplify it in like, the COVID denial kind of way that's been going on from the beginning, but also the other way around. For sure, but yeah, this guy. This guy.
No, I just think it's just your typical thing that a lot of, I think, middle class bourgeoisie do, which is the smallest thing becomes the biggest drama of. Yeah, it was very bad. It was the economic consequences, the lockdown, blah blah blah. But it wasn't like World War II. It's like when they compare Trump with a lot of figures.
Yeah.
Okay, just he's shit, but. Stop
No, definitely. And especially the people complaining about it, I mean, their lives couldn't have been too bad over the past year, because these kind of people can usually, upper class people, they usually have office jobs, so they all mainly kept their jobs. So unless they were hit by COVID, like really like got sick with COVID or lost a loved one or something, life couldn't be too bad. I mean, I remember Ellen DeGeneres in the beginning when there was like lockdown in the beginning. She was like, oh, like, it's like being in a prison. And I'm like, like, shut up, you're in your mansion. Like, what are you complaining about? Yeah. And since then, she's been canceled anyway. No, I don't think so at all. Yeah. This was in the very beginning. And
because I remember something like with Ellen DeGeneres like that with her phone, and then there's a pool like there. And it's not, it sucks. I mean, it is like a prison, Epstein prison, but
even I don't think even he didn't have it that well. I think, but yeah.
And Epstein apparently had lawyers bringing him girls until
in his original
before he suicided.
Oh, okay, I thought maybe the first time he went to jail or.
No, I've been listening to a lot of stuff about him recently, and it's fascinating that he was having a great time. There was no way he committed, like he was having a better life than most people do outside the prison.
Really? How long was he in prison this last time? A few weeks, or was it a month or two? Or?
I think more than months. Yeah, I think more than months, because
yeah,
they moved him from one prison to another. Then Yeah, it took him a while. Yeah, that was fun.
Okay. Sorry for no worries. No, it's good. Let's watch. That's what they're for. Let's watch the second video. A bit more serious. It's with Ben Shapiro. Extremely annoying. I mean, I don't even know
Jesus.
what the point is, but you know.
You own a pencil factory. I'm a worker in that pencil factory. But without me, and presumably many others like me, to assemble the pencils, all you would have is a pile of wood, yellow paint, graphite, rubber, and aluminum.
The owner of the factory carries the risk, therefore he gets the benefit. The workers in the company you mentioned, if that company were to go bankrupt, they would carry the risk as well as the benefit. If the company goes bankrupt and this guy has to pay off all of his debts, the worker may lose his job, but he's not the one who's going to incur the debt of having gone bankrupt. It's the investor who pays the downside, who invested in all the machinery, who sunk millions of dollars into making your labor productive. Because guess what? Your labor is without that machinery. Gunk. Nothing. You don't have a pencil to put together. You don't got the wood. You don't got the paint. You don't got the rubber. You don't got the metal. You got nothing. Right? You're sitting there, standing outside, twiddling your thumbs. It required somebody to invest. Who do you think put more in? The guy who spent millions of dollars buying all the machinery, leasing the place, making sure there was a management structure, doing the LLC formation, making sure all the tax code was in compliance, or you standing outside because you can stick a piece of graphite into a piece of wood?
Are you still okay after watching that?
Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
it's a shitty analogy. I would say it's a shitty analogy.
For sure.
And by the way, he does mention LLC in there, which is limited liability, you motherfucker. Limited liability means you don't incur the debt of your company. That's the whole point of, if there was no limited liability, if, for example, they came to your house and took your stuff, I bet those guys wouldn't invest millions. And then, like, the whole Jeffrey Katzenberg, the guy we talked about because he invested, that's his whole fucking scam. Like, he builds up these companies, get investors, and then gets paid salary of millions or whatever, and then, you know, just fucks off. You know, it's just, I mean, what he says is not wrong. I know. The investment and the machinery and all that, but it's just so far from reality. It's like, okay, anyway. And but I would say it was a shitty analogy to begin with.
I mean, I don't know why that guy. I hate these like overly like simplistic. From like, you know, from like Marx's childhood. He risked the labor. By the way, like, if you have millions of dollars and you risk half, if you have 2 million and you risk half of that, you risk 50% of your wealth. But if you're a laborer and you decide to work for 8 hours a day, you're pretty much risking your whole time, which is all you have. So it's give them $2 million, maybe, you know, they're invested in a lot of different things. Then it comes back to, well, did they earn that $2 million or not? Which, you know, I mean, even if you're a self-made person who has earned it, I mean, are you really? Anyway, anyway, it doesn't even make any sense. And like, you know, I mean, I don't know even what it has to do with socialism versus capitalism a little bit. I mean, I don't even know what like the point of Ben Shapiro or like the point is in this argument.
Well, the point is you need investments also for production, which nobody denies. You can do that in many. You can do it in a co-op fashion. You can do it in a state fashion. You can get loans. Or somebody risks it.
But I know, and like the analogies.
I really love. I just couldn't believe that he mentioned, because as when he was saying in the beginning, he risked everything.
Yeah,
it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Limited liability, motherfucker.
No, exactly.
And then he does mention that. It's just.
Yeah, and I love that. And anyway, what you just said actually goes really well with the next chart. The next one is a chart, but I mean, and like in Ben Shapiro's example, there's like one employer, I feel, and then like hundreds of workers who do exactly the same thing. So no legal team, no like manager. It's just like this one
accounting
owner who did everything.
Oh, by the way, he mentions that he is going through the process of filling in the tax forms and registering for LLC. Well, accountants do that, and they get paid to do that. Like it's again, I don't want to, because I don't like to demonize business owners as well. It's just the way this dichotomy and idiotic way they think economy works.
Yeah. But I mean, you see, it's so like stupid though, like the way that this argument and this video went, that it's kind of hard to counter it. Because It's just like
it has no basis
I don't know what to say.
reality.
Like, that's how employers work in a way, although you seem to have oversimplified. But anyway,
you have correctly described a working relationship between some people.
Yeah, more or less at a grade 1 level. But perhaps this chart is even tops it up, is even like worse. It's just
that's
completely
crazy.
nonsense. It just makes no sense. Why the rich get richer? And this just has to earn this much. So the poor spend all their money. I get it, because what are they going to do? And I love then how like he divides it for the rich,
I would say it actually does. It does reflect a very sad reality.
Yeah.
But in a way that they don't really, I think, get it, which is when you do get rich, actually you get a lot of free shit. That's true for sure. And whenever you have, and your cost, famously Warren Buffett said he pays less taxes than his secretary, but I don't know how true that is in general. But then you have all the accountants that you can pay them a fee, and then they get you out of major, your cost. That is definitely true, though, that I think they don't really, it's a bullshit chart for sure. But what they should do is that they should put the earning a lot higher, just as a whole volume. And then they should say, instead of save this much, they should just getting free shit from people. And that's going to be like big part of that.
No, you're exactly right. I mean, with a little bit of context, this becomes actually a good chart. But also, I mean, getting free stuff and all that is, of course, if you're making money after a certain amount, you can't really spend it. So, of course, you do all these things. And the other part is that I love how the poor people, it just assumes they don't invest. But it kind of depends what you mean in investment. So if they've bought a house or if they're going to like university or bought other things, so their investments too, or on like small stocks or something. But anyway, I mean, of course, all their money goes to feeding themselves, more or less.
Usually. And by the way, that's the thing that they don't seem to, for example, if you have a house, then, or you inherited or you bought a house, then you earn this much and then you can spend. But when you have to rent, you have rent to pay. That's like a whole different thing. So it's just the idiotic thing. The poor and the rich are two categories that are extremely broad and idiotic. And anyway, it's just,
No, 100%.
Even if it's, for example, the unsuccessful and the successful, like most fucking, self-help bullshit out there. That, okay, fair enough. Okay, if you want to be successful, if you want to be progress, man, you gotta organize it, which is, by the way, true. They just present it in such a macho shitty way that you're like, oh, fuck off. Like,
I know, right?
Like, if you want to become real success, like Bill Gates, no. But it's just the examples are awful as well. Like, sure, but the rich and the poor, fuck off. Most of the poor work harder than most of the rich, and they don't get shit, and they earn less.
If you wanted to add like successful and not successful, then you would have to add a third dimension, which shows what time those people woke up. Because as long as you wake up before 5 a.m., there's a good chance of you becoming rich. If you wake up past 5, you're screwed.
It is a very good chance.
Sam, and you have to make your bed. That's when it starts. You make your bed, you set a good, I've been making my bed since I was a kid. I don't know, maybe I'm reaping the benefits, but they don't seem to be. They don't
waiting any moment now. Any moment. I was listening to Chapa Trapas reviewing Jordan Peterson's book 12 Rules of whatever.
Oh, they did that? No way.
I don't know. But yeah, it was literally that. Literally, like, like clean your room and be a dick to others. But yeah, I think no, you're right. They have. I think that's a whole bird conspiracy as well. Early bird gets the worm. I think that's that's all fucking birds trying to make us wake up early, motherfuckers.
There you go. Your anti-bird agenda continues.
They are in the mornings. They are very annoying. I don't want to wake up before 5. I mean, to be fair, not even they get up before 5 a.m. Not
No,
even
they're already on the
they are
treadmill
that
before
crazy.
waking up. So before waking up, you have to do your exercise around 4 a.m. I
Not
don't know
treadmill,
why.
windmill.
That's the whole thing
No,
of being
it's
successful.
definitely true that yeah,
Of
to
course,
I
there's.
mean, it's true that when I get up, no, when I get up early in the morning, I get a lot more shit done, and I feel I feel better, especially when you have shit to do. But sometimes you don't have shit to do, which is awful. And because all you think about is all those big projects that you should be doing, but you don't, like, you just don't want
Yeah.
to do. Like, oh, my novel, when I'm going to tackle that novel, So, that's, and then you have all this free time to think about all these other shit. And I become so depressed those days. So I try to, not get up too early, because it could lead to depression, really.
I see. No, I mean, there's
Yeah.
definitely something there, but you don't have to wake up at 5 a.m. You can exercise later on. And I'm pretty sure Bill Gates, maybe he wakes up early, but I think that's just because he's an old man. And I'm sure he doesn't exercise. He doesn't strike me as someone who's been waking up early or exercising, if you ask me. Maybe I'm judging a book by its cover, but
No. To be fair, though, if you do, I mean, first of all, I think Bill Gates. I mean, that's Malcolm Gladwell, I think, covers him in his book, that he was like, he got extremely lucky with his mom working in a school or something, that's IBM. Anyway, but but you look at Jeff Bezos, though. He's definitely waking up 5 in the morning, have his blood transfusion from a young child from
that I believe.
some third world country, and then working out for like 6 hours with The Rock or whatever he does. It's just, I
Yeah.
think he's waking up 4 5 in the morning.
But yeah. But okay, Sam, let's go. The next two videos are they're going to show you how to become rich, I believe, if I recall correctly. So we can watch
again?
them one at a
I
time.
thought we already know the secret.
No, there's two more secrets.
Buy this first. Buy this first. Let me tell you why. I just bought this property for $500,000. I'm going to remodel this house. I'm going to put a 1,000 square foot house right here on this single family lot. It's only 5,000 square foot lot. And then I'm going to actually get it all rented out. This property is going to give me over $500,000 worth of equity in the property. And when I rent both of these out, I'm going to get $1,500 a month every single month for the rest of my life. Then you get enough of these, then buy this.
Patagonia, can you tell me why this down coat costs $300? Well, we only use the best materials and our gear lasts longer, so you don't have to replace them as often. I don't believe you. I'm going to call your manufacturer and see how much they charge. How much would it cost me to buy a similar quality Patagonia down jacket? Well, if you bought it in bulk, we could do it for $40 a piece. Hey, Patagonia, I just called your manufacturer and they said they could do it for $40. What the F, bro? On top of everything we said before, we're constantly innovating, and that requires a healthy R&D budget. We also keep an eye on the company's impact to the environment, and that's built into our prices. It's a better answer than Lululemon over there.
You watch both?
Yeah.
I like the first one.
Yeah. So you have 500 million lying around and you were about to go buy a Rolls Royce, but then you saw his video and you thought, no, it's better if I start a business, a real estate business. Like, yeah, I don't disagree. I don't think too many people have had to make this choice, but yeah. But I love how they downplay their own expertise too. It's like, you just buy it, you flip it, and peef, poof, paff, it's like ready to go. I'm like, you're kind of like, I'm like more suspicious now. Like, it's that easy.
No, you're right. No, my point is, though, I know so many people that and that's definitely more true in the third world, by the way. I don't like, this is this is so true. I've seen so many people that they don't have a place, but they have them, like, they still live with their parents or something, and they have this pimped out, really luxurious car, because cars are this sort of a shortcut to sort of becoming whatever, like being better than others.
No, they're like the most powerful symbol in some cultures, like not cultures around the world, really, among like the bourgeoisie. Like, your car is like the most important show-off item of consumerism. But yeah,
sadly, yes, because, but I mean, and I mean that sadly, completely not because of capitalism or anything. It's just because I don't know how to drive. Yes, and So no, I know people who've done that, who they invested
No, for
huge
sure.
amounts of money. Maybe Rolls Royce is a shitty example. Yeah, should I get a Rolls Royce or
Yeah.
But but I think he's targeting, a lot of, like, most people who are watching this shit on Instagram. I would imagine his followers are probably rich kids in LA, in London, in Tehran, wherever, and they probably need this advice, man. Or you're really to be, and I'm genuine. Like,
Yeah.
if these people were around when we paid for our education, and we paid, like, you paid less, but we paid for, like, if these people were around, man, I would have
No, Sam,
appreciated
like
it.
the issue is it's too much. I understand what you're saying, and there is
I
a
know this is
message, but
ridiculous
it's just too much of a caricature for someone younger to like get the correct message out of this. It'll be just like too, like, yeah.
And
Like,
and you're right, by the way, that constructing a building is not like, I'm just going to do the, it's, these things are hard and time consuming, and time is probably the most valuable thing out there. So yeah, he's been ludicrous, and it reminded me of all the people that I know that have really
100%.
amazing cars. But for example, Sam, I don't have. Can you spot me for this pizza? I really can't afford it. Like, it's ridiculous. So it just reminded me. And they never pay you back, by the way. Don't spot them ever.
Yeah, I mean, people live beyond their means, like, for sure. I mean, a lot of people borrow money for things that they truly need, but of course, a lot of people also accumulate credit card debt for stupid consumerism and bullshit stuff. But anyway, the final tip given in the next video is that ever come across an item that you find to be too expensive, just go to the manufacturer and buy in bulk.
Buy it in bulk.
Buy in bulk from that person.
Are you fucking mental? that one was really... And I loved how he explains that, we have R&D, we have environmental... I think it was a diss on environmentalism. That was the point?
I think it's just
what was the point of the video?
Trying to, I guess, how to get stuff for cheaper. I don't even know.
Importation in general. I don't know what was the target. I thought it was environment because he said we have these environmental costs.
I don't think so. You're right. That's confusing there.
But that video was just like, you like, if you go to a supermarket, you can buy salt in packages like that, like it's, I don't know, $2, and then you get this much salt, like about 6 times for like $4. It's called bulk purchasing.
Exactly. Except he took it to another level. He went straight away to the salt manufacturer, showed up with a truck, fill her up.
Okay, an average, you think, my whole life, how much I'm gonna need?
No, I guess his whole point is like how brands are ripping you off and how you can be like smarter. There's like all these hidden costs. I guess, like, there's this other guy, for instance, he keeps
Can you be smarter? Can you afford bulk purchase of jackets? And then start a rival business just to...
No, exactly. The part 2 of his video probably says, okay, then it's really easy, and you go buy one of these machines and some envelopes. You start a website. As soon as you have 100,000 visitors per day, you can start making $1 million per week. And like, that'll be the part 2.
I didn't see that
of it.
part.
No, I made that up, but I'm sure. I'm sure that based on my Instagram experience, I think that's where the guy was going. But no, they take it too far. For instance, supermarkets, of course, they're set up in a way to make people like spend more time and buy more things, right? And there's this guy on
groceries
Instagram.
All always.
Yeah, he's taken it to another level. I mean, I don't know if this one's true. He's like, you see how some of the trolleys, they're broken. That's done on purpose so that like it slows down your process of going through the store and shit. And then people are like, no, I don't think so. And then he makes this other one where like he's like, you find eggs here and you find milk somewhere else. And then he times himself how long it takes to get from the eggs to the milk. And other people are like, I don't know which grocery store you're shopping at, but mine, like, these 2 items actually happen to be next to each other. So they just take it to another level, like, with their advice.
No,
like the first guy, instead of saying, invest smartly, it's like Rolls Royce, or, how to
And by the way,
flip a house.
who, who goes into the supermarket? I mean, we have shopping lists, but it's not a fucking, Black Ops mission. Okay, I'm going to get the milks now. Fucking hell, like 2 minutes, man. Go, get the eggs, get the...
No, you see, so it's like saying, you see how long it takes, so then you spend more time. So I'm like, I get it. Yes, they put like, the products that you want in front of you. There is some, but like...
if supermarkets are getting more money out of you because they have a strategy to make you spend more time there through the decorations or whatever, good for them. Like, well done. Yeah, good.
But yeah,
like,
more or less.
They did a good business practice, and it answered like positively. I don't know. Are they exploiting anyone right now? What?
No, exactly. I mean, you can point it out. It's fine for someone to understand. It's good. Whatever.
No,
it's a grocery store, but yeah, it's not the worst thing. I agree.
We're talking about organizations that are running basically slave factories and are buying illegal products and putting like shitty meat, like things that are not meat stuff. And then we are worried about, this way they set this up. I may be spending 2 minutes extra, and then I might glaze over a chocolate bar and pick it up. Fuck off! Like, have some self-restraint.
No, I agree with your sentiment more or less. Just another one from what the guy said came to my mind. Tell me how ridiculous this one is. He's like, supermarkets, they never have windows, so you can't see the sun going down, so you can't tell how much time you've spent in this store. I'm like, but like supermarkets, like giant warehouses, what do you want? Like a nice panoramic view? I was like, if you maybe said that about a mall or something, would have believed it more. But I mean, I think you're pushing it.
No, are we? Who are these people? How do they live? Do they look to the sun? Oh, it must be
I should have been by the X section by now for sure.
Sunday. What the fuck is going on? Check your mobile phone. Like, see what time of the day. What you going through life, sort of wandering around, looking at the sun to see if it's like nighttime? May I wander back to my field? What the fuck are you doing? Don't you have work to do? Don't you have family to get? Like, check your watch. I don't know. Again, even if they're doing that, and if it is answering, good for them. Like, if they're getting you this way, good for them. Just like, we have to have a way to sort of filter out the idiots. That's good of me.
Fair enough. I definitely agree very much with you here. But okay, Sam, we've been having a lot of fun, so let's wrap this show up with a last bit of fun. So pretty much I sent you this Quentin Tarantino article, and apparently he said this on a podcast, but since he was a kid, he's promised to not give his mom like a penny of the money that he makes, because I don't know if he was a kid or teenager. He says that Tarantino recalled a time when he said his mother scolded him because she had a hard time about my scholastic non-ability. He said she was complaining about it, and then in the middle of her little tirade, she said, "Oh, and by the way, this little writing career, that is fucking over." So apparently since then, he told himself, "Okay, lady, when I become a successful writer, you will never see a penny from my success. There will be no house for you, no vacation, no Elvis Cadillac. You get nothing." And apparently he's, kept his promise and only helped her out once with the IRS. But yeah, he's like, where did he say this? I helped her out with a jam with the IRS, but no house, no Cadillac, no house. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me coming from Quentin Tarantino. Do you approve or?
I mean, I don't know their relationships.
Based on the single event. Oh,
sorry. I don't. Sorry, you were saying something.
No, nothing. I was just saying, based on this single event that Quentin Tarantino has said over his fight with his mom, do you think he done the right thing by completely blocking her or not?
I don't know their relationship, so I don't know anything about that. But if it was just based on this single incident, I think that's a bit unfair, to be honest. But, I don't know anything about their personal life. I'm a huge fan of his, but that does seem like, Just get her
A bit
house.
hard.
I think
He's proud of it.
Yeah.
I have two Quentin Tarantino questions
I
for
mean,
you.
yeah.
Go ahead. No,
Go ahead. Sorry.
it's hard. We need more information. You're right. I mean, I guess, yeah.
I just started reading his book Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's really good. Yeah.
Nice.
It's
Okay,
different
nice.
from the movie. It's like a novel.
Oh, I see. Very nice. Yeah, I think on the Joe Rogan podcast, which I listened to, which I found fun, he did say, I mean, there were a few interesting things. The way he talked about Harvey Weinstein, very honest in the way that he didn't hide his own past relationship and, admitted in a way that, they were kind of turning an eye on, seeing like things that look suspicious, but they're like, yeah, he's like, I thought that's how Harvey is, with girls and touchy.
He admitted, and like a lot of people has admitted, everybody knew he was a cheater and he would chase secretaries, as it's called, like sort of. But I don't think anybody knew about the rape thingy.
No. Yeah.
Although I would imagine.
No, I'm sure some knew, but yeah.
Some knew, yeah. I mean, I doubt artists knew, but I think he's probably like staff knew. I don't know. Who knows?
No, I think I think from what I recall more, he was just kind of trying to say that, like, if you were a bit, if you wanted to be a bit more skeptical and like observe this guy a bit more closely, he gave you plenty of reasons in his kind of like just like behavior in front of everybody else. But there was that. And then, before asking you my other question, and apparently I read that, I don't know why I've read so much stuff about his personal life, but now he regrets going with the name Tarantino. I don't know if he regrets, but he said that's just the name of his stepdad or something, and it's kind of cool or something. But if you were to do it again, he would have gone with a different last name. But yeah, my question for you is, apparently he's just going to make one more movie and he's planning on sticking by that. Have you heard about that? That's a bit unfortunate, putting a lot of pressure on himself.
Yeah, he's been saying that for a long time. I think before Hateful Eight, he said he's gonna make 10 movies. Although he said Kill Bill counts as one, I think, or something.
Yeah, no, he said no. He's counting those as two. And still, yeah.
Well, he shouldn't. But yeah, it is. I mean, I definitely agree with his strategy. Though you don't want to quit when you're unwanted. Like let's say Francis Ford Coppola is somebody who's his latest movies have not been critically or commercially.
Who is that? Good. Who is that? And what do I know from him?
Jesus Christ! Oh my God, Godfather.
Oh, okay, the Godfather guy. Okay. I've never watched Godfather though.
Apocalypse Now.
But yeah, I've never watched Godfather.
Really?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Man, fuck yeah. Watch Godfather. It's Godfather 1 and 2 I recently rewatched them. They're amazing. I can't believe like movies like that don't get me. It's so good. But yeah, Apocalypse Now as well. That's awesome. Which anyways has a Trump thing to it. But I think he quit on top. But then you have like people like Scorsese, who I think has remained on top even when they're old. So you want that obviously for Tarantino. No. But most cases are not like that. So
I agree with that.
I would do the same.
I agree with that, except I wouldn't put such a fixed number, because what if his next movie is not the best, and he could have one better? Like, for instance, he really seems to like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and although I'm not a big movie guy, but it has my favorite actor, at least, Leonardo. It's not like my favorite Tarantino movie. Just like two of the recent ones, Django Unchained, I really loved, and maybe Inglourious Bastards I liked even more also than Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So I don't know. I think he's putting unnecessary pressure on himself.
It's hard. Yeah, I think so too. But I would say between his film, I don't know. I just, in a way, one of my favorite film is probably Hateful Eight. I know a lot of people don't like that. That's probably his least favorite.
Yeah, I think I've probably seen it once, but I can barely picture it.
Yeah, it's.
It's the one. Yeah. It all ends up in the house. It all ends up in the cabin in the mountains. Yeah. I saw that once at the movies. Did I like that more than Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
I don't think so. Nobody did. But yeah, Once Upon a Time, all of them are so good. I can't even compare them. But I definitely prefer his more recent movies. I know everybody thinks Pulp Fiction is his sort of masterpiece, and
Yeah, I mean,
to a lesser extent, Reservoir Dogs. But I don't. I genuinely think Django, Inglorious, Hateful, and Once Upon a Time are so much better.
Django has amazing. I mean, in some of these movies, he has some of these scenes that he may come out. So, for instance, in Django Unchained, there's this part where he gets like this African slave. He gets like two of them in his house to like wrestle and have an MMA fight, and then one of them wins. And then he asks like his butler to like get him a beer, like Leonardo asks. But the way he makes like Leonardo ask for like a big bottle of cold beer, it's like I've just been dreaming about that beer that was given to that guy since then. They just make it look so good.
Wow, okay.
Or even Pulp Fiction, you know, like as a movie, it's great, but like individual scenes are even better. Like it's just filled with insane scenes, his movies that are just crazy.
Oh yeah, they are. I think that Leonardo should have won an Oscar, in my view, for that, for supporting actor, and Samuel L. Jackson. Just his performance in Django is amazing.
Django Unchained,
But I would say he has this thing I read about or I heard about, that he apparently writes in restaurants or coffee shops, and he listens to people talk about food, because if you see, his movies are filled with talk about food, and apparently that's what you notice, that people talk about the food a lot, and he adds that, and it apparently adds or he thinks, or people who watch it thinks, that it adds a realism to the
100 million %. 100 million %. I mean, like the relationship with food that like what's his name, John Travolta, no, it's not John Travolta, it's Samuel Jackson, who's eating like the burger in the opening scenes of Pulp Fiction, and then I 100% agree with that. I think I've like realized that like realistic like eating scenes, I'm always drawn to them. I don't know why. But no, definitely agree there. Anything else I want to say about Quentin Tarantino? Oh no, about his writing thing. Actually, he mentions on the podcast that back in the day, I think he used to write a lot like night times and then like at restaurants and things like that. But now he was saying he's adopted a more professional lifestyle where he like writes during the day and then he goes in the pool every day. That's his thing.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan was loving that interview, but it was, who wouldn't?
I mean, it's not, that's, to be honest, my strategy and tactic. I do that. So yeah, makes sense. You just read, write, and then you chill in the pool.
Okay, Sam, this podcast started relatively serious, relatively newsy. It kind of turned into something else.
It went to really dark places.
True.
And then it came back.
I forgot about the dark part. If you look at the chart, it's like serious, but I don't know. And then one part it like dips into like unknown territory.
Like, serious issues, fucking outside of the framework. And then suddenly, fun.
Yeah. Some viewers were about to call 9/11 during that point, but then they realized everything's okay.
I do apologize for the dark part because I do feel like a lot of people gonna just tune out at that point.
No, I don't think so. It wasn't that bad. But anyway, we should definitely have, we have this population debate probably like over the phone, like once a month or something, or every now and then. It's always in my head. So one day we have to do it. But okay, folks, please let us know what you thought about the structure of this podcast. And any criticisms, comments, or questions will be more than welcomed. We'll make sure to get to them. But if not, that's it. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in our next video. Thank you.